through here in a sec. And we are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Mailbox Podcast. I am your host, the Mailman, and tonight I have a special guest with me that we are going to be talking about the feud that's going on between Jason Whitlock and Deion Sanders. Now, I'm not sure if Deion Sanders is aware. I'm sure he is, being the primetime player that he is. But the thing is that I don't know if he cares enough to deal with Jason Whitlock, but we do. So I am going to bring in a guest. This is Real Talk with Darius. I'm going to turn it over to him. Darius, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, Mel? Good, nice to be here.
Glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm an aspiring YouTube creator. I just have some things I'd like to get off my heart. I normally share behind closed doors concerning relevant issues going on in life, be it politics, religion, sports, whatever the case may be. And so I just thought, since I see a lot of different content out there that I believe I can add value to, I decided I would, start my channel and see what happens from there.
Sounds good. Where can the people find you?
They can look me up on Real Talk with Darius. Just check out my YouTube channel, Real Talk with Darius. You'll find some wonderful, valuable content there. Please like, subscribe, comment.
Yes, guys, that is Real Talk with Darius. Let me show you a little bit about him. It is, let me see where we at. We do it live, guys. Right here, this is his channel. Please do go ahead and subscribe to it. It is Real Talk with Darius on YouTube. He has great content here. As you see, he has a bunch of shorts here. He deals with all types of things from Thomas Sowell to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, which I believe this is their year, as we always say. I am a Cowboy fan myself, so we're always believing that this is our year. But yeah,
go Cowboys.
Right, yes, go Cowboys. I'm glad they won that game last night, even though it was a nail biter. But
nail biter.
But yes, as you guys see, he deals with a lot of stuff here. So please go check out his content and give him a subscribe. He's doing excellent. He has 197 subscribers, and he's, I believe he just started doing this ramp up, and people are just taken to you. So please, guys, go ahead and hit that sub for him.
Also, Mel, if I may add, when I started Real Talk, my thoughts was this. I think a lot of real conversations don't get had, or people like to keep things on the down low in the back room type situation. And so when I said Real Talk, I was talking about, for example, people don't like talking about politics. People don't like talking about religion. And yet every single day, both of those topics, both of those subjects affect us all the time. So I figure if it affects us each and every day, why are we told that those discussions are taboo? That didn't make any sense to me. So I was like, okay. So I started dealing with it, different issues, show some things that I think matter. And I know there's a lot of other people out there like me who want to find somebody who's talking about something that matters to them. So that's why I started my channel.
Oh, that sounds excellent. Yes. I understand a lot of people don't want to talk about certain things. So that's why there are people like you that want to talk about those things. And it's good that we have people like you and myself in this community to talk about the truth. And speaking of the truth, so far right now, Jason Whitlock has been trying to defame Deion Sanders. Now, you're familiar with Deion Sanders, I take it. You look about 25 years old, but I'm going to guess with that gray, you got that wisdom. So we're going to say you're a little bit older than that. But
just a little bit.
Yes. So this is actually a segment that you wanted to talk about, and I'm glad to talk about. And for the crowd, guys, what we're going to do is actually react to it live. Now, he's seen a bit of this and covered it on his channel, so please do go check it out. However, I have not seen it. I've seen segments of it and here and there shorts of it and clips, but I have not seen it fully. So we're actually going to get into this with Jason Whitlock and everything that he's been talking about with Deion Sanders right here. I believe it's 6:44. It's about 45 minutes, so guys, please bear with us. But we're going to actually react to this. Now, the plan is to get through all of this. However, I understand it is late, but if we do not, we can always do part 2. Or actually, we will do part 2, so you guys will have something to expect. But we're looking at doing this. We don't know how often we're going to do it. He has his channel, I have my channel, but the collabs, we're going to see what we can do. So guys, let's go ahead and get actually into this. Is there any points you want to make before we get started, Darius?
I just ask people just to pay attention to what Jason is saying and really listen, not just with your feelings, not with for those who are Deion Sanders fans, Coach Prime fans, Colorado Buzz fans. Don't just listen with your emotions. And for those who may not like Deion, some of you might be Deion haters. Don't listen with your feelings. Listen with your heart. Listen with your mind. Because when people are talking and saying certain things, oftentimes we actually miss not only what they're saying, but what they're meaning. So just pay attention.
Great points. Great points. I like that. Let's go ahead and get started here.
This fire starter is amazing. So let's get to it. At this point, Deion Sanders has more in common with Jim Jones than Nick Saban. Jim Jones, of course, is one of America's most notorious cult leaders. In the 1960s and 70s, he used a mashup of Christian theology, Marxism, racial idolatry, and social justice to convince a large group of followers to relocate to a jungle in South America. He promised his congregants they would build an oppression-free paradise in Guyana. A little more than a year after their arrival in Guyana, on November 18th, 1978, Jim Jones talked his church members into drinking cyanide-laced Flavor Aid.
Okay, let me stop it right there. Help me understand the correlation between Coach Prime encouraging and I don't know if you have seen the what do you call it, the thumbnail for this, but I'm actually pull it up real quick right here because I truly don't understand the correlation between the two of what he's talking about. He's saying that Deion Sanders is trying to poison these people. Please elaborate on that while I pull this up for you.
Well, definitely. I mean, I know he's in context. I know he's referring to Deion's indoctrination about, you know, people believing and being the best they can be and those type of things. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, based on what he's saying and based on what I've listened to Coach Prime say. He's saying what Coach Prime is peddling is the equivalent of a mental suicide pill or a drink, a Kool-Aid as they call it, because the poison, the cyanide poison was mixed within the cup of Kool-Aid. And so, matter of fact, there's an interesting documentary. Like I said, maybe we can put that link in there for part 2, but it's about a little less than an hour and a half documentary called Jonestown Massacre that actually explains what went down as to what Jason is saying. And I do ask the viewers to watch it, because what Jason is saying, and I don't want to get too deep on that just yet, but he is definitely equating Deion, Coach Prime, with being a murderer.
How? Basically.
Like
who's died?
That's my question. That's why I wanted to react to it, is because I get it. You don't like the coach's coaching style. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine. You don't like some of his methods. Okay, that's fine. You can debate that. But when you start assassinating someone's character, I mean, I have a lot to say on that. So before I even go there, let's go and let the audience listen to some more of it, unless you have something else you want to say.
Oh, no, I was actually going to just bring this up. So if you guys didn't see the thumbnail, and I don't know if you've seen it, Darius, this is what I feel about this whole situation. You got this hater right here. His show is called Fearless with Jason Whitlock, but I called it Fearful Jason. And he is a hater. He has the cult behind him, because I've seen, like I said, in the clips that I've seen that he's been talking about how Jason Whitlock Deion Sanders is like a cult leader, which I've seen a lot of his speeches and everything that he's been saying. And I feel motivated. Like with Coach Prime, he's a coach, especially in college. I don't compare him to Nick Saban. Nick Saban, he's not one of my favorite coaches. I respect Bill Belichick. Nick Saban's different level, but that's neither here or there, and a different conversation for a different day. But for Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, I feel inspired listening to him, and I don't feel culted. I don't feel like dying. I don't feel like I'm in some kind of ministry, in a sense of a derogatory ministry. Now, I know he's a Christian, as we are, but other than that, I don't feel any type of way that's going to make me want to die. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's saying. These people want to die and sacrifice themselves. Now, give yourself for the game of football, sure, because that is your passion. You want to go to the NFL, whatever you want to do. But however, the way he's trying to paint this picture, and we're not even 30 seconds really into this, is fascinating. I don't understand what he's trying to get at. So like I said, maybe I'm premature in my approach, but I'm just saying it doesn't make any sense.
No, I think you're right on the money, because that's basically the feeling or the impression I got when I first started listening to it. I'm like, soon as he started talking about Jim Jones, I was like, okay, he's going to go way off. I said, I got to react to this. Again, I'm not going to dispute all this other stuff with people. Everybody always got an opinion. Everybody knows what they're going to do, especially when you're on the outside. It's kind of like being a passenger driver or a backseat driver. Everybody knows where to go, how to drive, and all that stuff. And sometimes until they actually in the driver's seat.
Right.
And then they get to see how it feels when somebody's trying to take quarterback from the back seat or from the passenger seat. So, now again, that both has their place. But largely speaking, if you're in my car, let me drive the way I drive.
Right.
And so it's so easy to do all this armchair quarterback. Is that another term?
I believe so.
It's just terrible to me. So anyway, when he started talking about Jim Jones, equating Coach Prime to that, he said so much just in that one statement. But before I go there, go ahead.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's pull that back up. Very interesting already, and we're just barely started in this.
Like you said, we're only 30 seconds into the video. Boom.
Yeah.
And 9 people died. 70% of Jones's followers were black. 45% of them were black women. So I want you to make sure you understand that stat. Jones had like 1,000 members total. I believe the exact number is 461 of them were black women. 461 of 1,000 were black women. Abused Christian theology, Marxism, racial idolatry, and social justice have been combined and used repeatedly to make fools of black Americans. Too often, black people find racialized religious doctrine irresistible. In hopes of building an oppression-free football paradise in Boulder, Colorado, Deion Sanders has employed the same formula as Jim Jones. Coach Prime cast himself as one-cup evangelical motivator, a tablespoon of racial justice warrior, a gallon of American Idol, and a full-blown useful idiot for Marxists. Throughout the fall, black celebrities and sports fans flocked to one of the most white locales in America to worship at the foot of their football cult leader, buying whatever apparel or bull junk, as Deion says, Coach Prime sold. After a 3-0 start, Deion was Coach Deity, an untouchable hero, a threat to Nick Saban as college football's greatest coach. Any critique of Sanders brought allegations of racism or race betrayal. Coach Deity had turned Colorado's year-long football wine into life-sustaining water. Let me give you an example.
No, don't give me an example. Good gosh. Bruh, like seriously, he goes from the women to people dying to the cult. Okay, today is December 1st. We got 30 days left in this year. Which Colorado player has died from Deion Sanders' cult-like mentality?
Or as Jason would say, maybe it's their college career or their potential professional career.
See, I'm just gonna say this like this, and I hate to say it. I never like using this card, but if Deion Sanders was white, would he feel the same way?
I don't think so.
I mean,
again, I don't think so.
And I know specifically, I don't think Jason Whitlock doesn't like black people. I just think he doesn't like many black people. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because I see how he, Jamel Hill, and a few others, they go after. You know, if you don't like someone's character, that's fine, but you're gonna put this man as a Jim Jones murderer cult leader based off of zero merit. There's no foundation what he's talking about. I don't like using the term I feel though he doesn't even believe what he's saying. He's just reading the teleprompter. Because I literally almost fell asleep through that because it didn't even sound right. It just sounds like he's picking things. If I was like, so Darius, based off of the substitution of the constitution of the productionution, we're going to have a good day. You were like, what? I know that made no sense, audience. That made no sense. This is Jason Whitlock. I'm just saying, for me, maybe I need to watch more, but just in this context, if I was talking to him, I would have cut him off, because whenever you're dealing with it, you're in a debate, or you're going to use somebody as an example, there has to be merit to what you're saying. Nobody's died. And Deion Sanders, what women is he motivating to die? So those two things right there. Then you go all the way to Jim Jones, which, if you guys don't know about Jim Jones, we got videos for you, and we'll make sure they're in the link by the end of this video if they're not in there right now. But how can you compare him to Jim Jones and what Jim Jones actually did? Anytime you make a comparison, like people compare Tom Brady to Peyton Manning, or Peyton Manning, Eli Manning to Peyton Manning or whatnot, Dak Prescott to Cam Newton to Jalen Hurts. Those are quarterbacks. A killer compared to Deion Sanders. A cult leader compared to Deion Sanders. Yet we don't see that. And he wants to say, well, he's using his evangelistic. The fact that he's using Christ, other people use different motivations, but he's using Christ as motivation. And from what I know, and I don't know if you know this, from what I know, Jason Whitlock proclaims to be a Christian. Why is it that he's attacking this man? Instead, if he really, let's say he really had a problem with him, why isn't he going to him? He rather expose him in a way that makes Christians look back, because it's for the kingdom, right? The kingdom of God. We want to make sure we're Christians and we represent. If I had a problem with you, let's say, I don't know what example to use, because I can't even correlate anything. You know, I can't say you're a killer, obviously, but whatever correlation I would use, if I felt some way, I can call you, hit you up, text, or whatever. Why would I go on social media and talk bad about you if I wanted to get down to the truth and fix your issue?
That would be my question.
Because he doesn't want a resolution. He's on a witch hunt, if you ask me, of destruction.
That sounds very familiar.
Facts. So let's continue. Maybe I'm jumping off the wagon a little bit. Let's find out.
Example of Deion's mashup of Christian theology, racial idolatry, all the little tools that Jim Jones used. Let me give you a little mashup, a little taste of how Deion packaged himself and sold himself to Black America and America at large. Play the clip.
Don't you ever tell me what God ain't. Don't you ever tell me his limits.
Listen, everybody, Buff Nation who supported us, and all the hood that had my back, I thank y'all. God, this is good. What's up, boss? You believe that? You hold on. Oh no. Do you believe in that? But yeah, I keep receipts. But you better get me right now. This is the worst we're gonna be. You better get me right now.
Looking to get paid fast? PayPal invoicing just got an upgrade.
Yeah, guys, y'all want me to skip ads, go ahead and subscribe and hit that Cash App or PayPal. That helped me pay for this $15 or $17 a month. Skip ads. Thank y'all.
That's Deion Sanders with his little mixture. All the hood that supported me, all the, remember we didn't.
What are you saying? Are you? So he said, "Don't tell me what God is and God's limits. Do you believe now?" I want to thank the hood that supported me because a lot of his players came from the hood and they're supporting them. He's saying thank you. And that's cult-like. That's
he's thinking the way he's talking is Jason. That is that Deion is peddling the gospel, peddling the name of God in order to increase his success, to increase his marketability, to rake in more dollars and support. And he thinks his followers are his, basically, according to Jason, his church members, Deion's church members and followers. And so Deion basically is going to lead them to their death Kool-Aid one day type thing. Now, my question is when Coach Prime, because this is what I asked the question I asked when I first heard Coach Prime say this, he says, do you believe now? Do you believe now? I was like, for me, I was like, why is he asking that? What went on before? He didn't call it a racist issue. Now, you can take it easily as racism, whatever. But why did Coach Prime say that? That's the question I think is merits being asked of someone, especially like you was talking about earlier, Mel, about if you have access to me, why go blast everything out there on social media rather than come directly to me? Because from what I understand, they have met before, so they know who each other are. I guess I don't know if they have each other's phone numbers or whatnot, but I'm sure with Jason's platform and his connections, and of course Coach Prime and his connections, they can reach out to each other. Now, in this case, it's not so much Coach Prime reaching out to him. Well, based on this video, I made another video about Jason and what he was doing when he first came out that I seen attacking Coach Prime. Or at least the first video I saw when he was attacking Coach Prime. But this videos were really kind of lit a fire under me a little bit more because I wasn't planning on doing all this much coverage over it. I just liked the story, and I wanted to go talk about it a bit. But when Jason started talking about this, I said, it started bothering me. And I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. And you alluded to it earlier. You said, isn't he supposed to be a Christian? Okay, well, Prime is also a Christian. And he just heard him glorifying God. Now, we hear rappers, we hear other celebrities when they're at the awards always giving credit to God. Now, I don't personally believe all of them serve God like that. But, everybody can be at their own level. They can have a relationship with God at their level. So I was like, okay, Jason's doing all this huffing and puffing and trying to blow down Colorado's house, or Deion Sanders, really, trying to blow his house down. I said, okay, let's just say he's right. Let's just say his assessment, his analysis of Coach Prime up to this point is correct. As a fellow Christian, because he mentioned it in another video, if he's a Christian, Jason, and Coach Prime's a Christian, and you're going to blast him using your loud microphone to do it, why not somewhere in the midst of that, take time and ask the viewers who are believers in Jesus Christ to pray for Coach Prime, that God will guide him, direct him, and help him to lead those young men. Because a lot of people, Jason is right on this, and it works for better or for worse, whether you're an evil leader or a good leader, the same principles work. The only difference, and it's a big one, is the agenda, the motive behind it. So why didn't Jason use his platform to say, okay, you know what, guys, I know this is not a Christian program or a time to preach and all of that, but let's please take a moment. Let's pray, because Coach Prime has a lot of influence and a lot of people believe what he says. A lot of people believe in him. And remember, Coach Prime has been coaching for over 20 years, so he probably has hurt a lot of people along the way. If you go using Jason's argument, for over 20 years, Coach Prime has been hurting a lot of children. If he's been hurting a lot of children, that means he's been hurting a lot of parents. If he's hurting a lot of parents, he's been hurting a lot of communities. If he's hurting a lot of communities, then he's hurt a number of communities. Let me say it that way. If he hurt that community in Jackson State or wherever else he's been coached, he's also hurt that state. He's been a negative impact. So here's the question. Are there any of those young kids that he mentored and taught all those years in prison, on the streets, doing drugs, committing crimes, killing one another? I mean, the list is endless, because So why didn't he use his platform, or why hasn't he used his platform to pray for Coach Prime if he is that concerned for Coach Prime? Or he may not even care about Prime from this standpoint. Maybe he cares about Prime supporters. Maybe he wants to try to save the people from listening to Big Bad Wolf Coach Prime. If that is the case, and he's right, why, as a believer in Jesus Christ, doesn't he use that same platform to pray for this man if he's that big of a threat? Because Jim Jones was not a joke. What happened, according to the information I've seen, the videos I've seen, and the testimonies of some of the former members of that congregation who lost loved ones, I think it's irresponsible personally that Jason would use this platform to come out and attack. Once again, if he's right, he should use that same platform to encourage. I think he would get more respect. I'm not saying that everybody's going to be on board with it, because people are people. I mean, everybody got opinions. Everybody has different beliefs. But if he had to use his platform to, hey, pray for Coach Prime, maybe he could move on to a different story and stop stabbing the man. Maybe things would change, probably get better, according to Jason's logic. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take that long on that one. That's why I wanted to do the video in the first place, because let me say this real quick. I am not a Deion Sanders or Coach Prime apologist, okay? Yes, I'm a fan of Prime Time when he played in the NFL and in baseball. But yes, I have become a fan of him as a coach. But I'm also a fan of him as a man, okay, and as a black man who's making what I believe to be a positive difference. So, but I'm not an apologist. I'm a man of truth. If I'm wrong, I'll come right back on my channel, and Mel, I'm sure he'd allow me to correct something if I'm wrong, and I'll come back and say, listen, I was wrong. Jason was right. I don't believe that to be the case, but I'm just trying to figure out why this man is attacking Coach Prime this hard.
Well, see, for me, this was about 2 weeks ago or a week ago or something, this video.
I mean, but we give or take, yeah.
Okay, so since then, things have happened. And I've pretty much watched Coach Prime's sessions, press sessions, pre-sessions, when he was on with First Take, when he was on with Undisputed or whoever he talked to, with Michael Irvin, Skip Bayless, Stephen A., Keyshawn, anybody. Take away anything I know about Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, Prime Time, all of that. There's not one thing for me personally that I felt cultivated by, if that's the right terminology, where I want to die, or that he's controlling me. I feel motivation, like I can do anything. Believe. Do you not believe in us? And to answer your question, when you said the reason why he said believe, because people weren't believing in him because of the college they came from, the league that they were in. They don't belong there. You call it race or whatnot. Nobody said specifically because of their race, but they're saying because of their league and their style of play, because of their division, they do not belong in that category to be with the Alabamas, to be with the Colorados, to be with anybody else. So to me, that was the biggest thing where he was like, do you believe now? Because they didn't believe in these people. What it is you get the status. When it comes to football and anything, it's the status of it. A lot of people take a man in a suit and a man that's dressed in regular clothes. Most billionaires, they dress in Walmart clothes. Most people that want to be flashy, they're going to dress in these eccentric clothes. Oh, yeah, this shirt costs $46,000. This watch costs $18 million or whatever. Those are the millionaires that got their money in a flash. But the billionaires, the Mark Cubans, the Kevin O'Learys, the Robert Herjavec's, any of these high elite, even Oprah, now her stuff might be handmade or whatnot, but she's not flashing stuff to get robbed like a lot of these people do. Right. They don't got a $120,000 chain on them. So these type of individuals, the thing that Jason is going after is Deion's character. Why? That's right. The real question. We don't know why. I have no idea why, because just not knowing Deion at all and listen to this guy, I would have gone back. Now I've paid attention to the whole his press conference and everything, so I don't need to do that. But seeing how he is, I don't understand it. Has nothing to do. I used to like Jason Whitlock. I don't like how he attacks specific people. Instead of try to correct them, he tries to persecute them. He's judge, jury, and executioner. That's the way I see him, and he's gonna ride on that train until it falls off, until the wheels fall off, and the tracks fall off, and the tracks break. That's what he's gonna do. Even in his analysis of Deion Sanders, I am trying, because I haven't seen this. You have. I am trying as a person that does not even know this to understand what is he talking about. There's been no correlation. He's using God for what? Motivation? God says, what Psalm says, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. He's making a joyful noise. God, don't tell me God's limit. I know God's limit. Because here's the thing. I saw that press conference. You got unchristian people telling Deion Sanders what God does. So, again, put it in context. That's why I say I watched that. Apparently, Jason didn't. So if he's saying, don't tell me God's limit because the God that I serve, you don't serve. That's right. It's just like if somebody told me, man, you don't know Darius. Yes, I do. Well, I just feel how he is. What do you know? Do you know Darius? No, but I just know people like him. Well, that's not him. You don't know him like I know him. That's the same thing with the relationship with God that Deion's talking about. Don't tell me about his limits, especially when he know how you guys are. He's very observant. But Jason don't look at that. Jason's a Christian by name, from what I've seen. And when it comes to action, it's governed because he has the right to do X, Y, Z. Even though I'm a Christian, I can't let that affect how I'm going to deliberate, which as a Christian should be a lifestyle, not a title. That could preach. That's not what we're doing today in that sense. But I'm just saying that he doesn't have that Christian value of brethren, but more of the Sadducees, Pharisees, and every seed besides the Christ seed. So to me personally, what I'm viewing, not how I feel, what I'm viewing is that he doesn't care about the truth. He cares about the clicks. He cares about the news. That's what he's made.
That's my thought too.
Yeah, and it is.
I mean,
it's perfect. It really is. It's marketing strategy. I'll give him that. It's marketing, but it's a witch hunt. And I don't know if you understand, not understand, but know the term of witch hunt. When it comes to a witch hunt, pretty much what people are doing, it's not that they have actual evidence. They forge the evidence of what it is. And they're digging deep. And what happens is when it comes to witch hunting, if enough people say the lie, it can sound convincing. Like, let's say right now the sky is blue. But do you understand what is blue? Like, who told you blue was blue? And now you're doubting yourself. The things you saw with your eyes. We could go when the beer bug or whatever they want to call it, how they said this was going to happen. You doubt your eyes. Even now you see in the government how things are now, how they'll tell you something is something when it's not something, but you need to believe that it is something because we say it's something. It's what we say, not what it is. That is what he's trying to do here in that context. See, that's a correlation. Everything he's talking about with Deion Sanders, I'm trying without any prejudice. I'm trying to see his point, but everything he's made, and I know we're only a little bit in this, I'm not seeing where this correlates at all. I don't know if you do. I don't know, because I know one thing I know about you. You like to look at both perspectives, and I try to do that as well. And I say I try because I'm still working on it. But you're good at looking at the perspective of both sides. But I don't see a side here. I just see haterade. That's why I put this picture up here, because that is all he's doing. He's a hater. He says cult. I don't see cult. I see Deion Sanders. I know you can't see the soul thing, but you got leadership, mentorship, integrity, motivation. That's what the rest of this puzzle says. Jason Whitlock, if I was watching him and I don't know how to look for news myself and I'm with the hive mindset of he said it is true, I would hate Deion. How's he doing it to these boys? But yet.
See, that's the thing. I mean, when I read through some of the comments, a number of comments, and you of course have some people who are supporters of Deion and Coach Prime. Not all of them didn't agree with what happened in Colorado as far as the season, as far as some of the playing time, as far as whatever. Again, that just comes with the territory. I mean, there's only one person I know who lived perfectly, and they killed him. So, okay. So, I'm not surprised per se that Deion has been attacked. Greatness has been attacked on both sides. I mean, if you're a great bad person or a great good person, you're always going to have faced a lot of criticism. But it matters most when it's on the right side, when you're on the right side of the aisle, or the true side of the aisle, and people perceive that you're something that you're not, and they use their platforms, they use their voices, they use their little circles to form ideals. Because the world runs, the whole world. I don't care what you're in, I don't care what your profession is. The whole world runs on ideas. And so once we figure that out, I said this years and years ago, before I got into politics, that those who control the flow of information can control the minds of the people. And so that's what Jason is saying. He's doing the very same thing he's accusing Coach Prime of doing, in the sense that Coach Prime is sharing information, has been doing so for over 20 years. He's on a bigger stage now. And so, of course, with that comes more scrutiny and all that kind of stuff. The problem is, Jason, in my view, has taken it to a place that it shouldn't have gotten to. And so when you start calling somebody a Hitler, a Stalin, or some mass murderer throughout history, and in this case, a Jim Jones, you have to back it up. And so, yes, he did talk about some of Jim Jones' major character flaws and his behaviors and things he's done that led to the deaths of nearly 1,000 people. Yes, a good number of his congregation were black, but it wasn't just black. It was black and white, and probably some other mix in between. And what he's saying here, once again, goes on a much larger scale. This is why I thought it on my first video when I came out 2 weeks or so ago with that, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Then when I heard this video, I said, oh, no. I said, man, Deion, I would think, I mean, you can't answer all your critics, but I would think he and Deion need to talk, because you just labeled a man who's also, I think is Deion still married? I know he had 2 divorces. I don't know. Anyway, he is a husband.
Yeah.
He's a father. So you do know this information is going to probably still be on these platforms 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now.
Right.
His kids and grandkids going to have to deal with this, because somebody going to say, hey, wasn't that your dad or your granddad who they called him a Jim Jones? And most people do not do research. This is why we're going to provide that information for you. And if you can find some more to add to it, that'd be great. But this is going to see what happened is this is the other side of it too. Like I said, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but we're just flowing. Jason just said in that whole in the 30 seconds, or just in a few minutes we've heard so far. And I know it happened with Jim Jones. He just said that the parents are ignorant. They're being swept up with this charismatic movement. The organizations that have invested in the brand Deion's Coach Prime Sanders, they have been duped. He said the endorsers have been duped. The colleges, the universities, the schools, the communities, his friends, everybody in Deion's environment has been duped, as swept away by this magnet called Deion's world, and he's tricked everybody who believes in him and what he's doing. Never mind, a lot of these young men he's been impacting for God knows how long, and some of the new guys coming into the fold or coming under his leadership. He is saying that all of those people's futures are in jeopardy. Everybody's been duped. Deion is that good. He's duped so many millions of people, not just a few thousand. You can talk about Boulder all you want to. It's bigger than that, okay? He said all those people have put their hopes, their trust, because he also said Deion's deity and all this other kind of stuff. He has just put this man, he has put an extra large target on this man claiming he's doing something that the evidence doesn't back up. He is giving you his opinion. Yes, I'm a fan, but I've been watching. I know what good leadership looks like. Okay? So I don't see, as Mel was saying, I don't see any evidence unless you want to see it. And so when I was looking at reading some of the comments, some people, of course, sided with Jason. Yeah, everybody's got their 2 cents. But when I was reading some of the comments, I probably saw 1 or 2, that I recall, 1 or 2 comments about the Jim Jones thing, but nobody was talking about going to find out who Jim Jones is, what he actually stood for, what were his beliefs, his convictions, what was his behavior like, his character traits. This man was interesting and became a very dark person as he grew from his youth, from his teenage years and on in. He learned how to get to the hearts and minds of people. But great leaders also, people with good motives, do the exact same thing.
Right.
Accepted their agenda. See, Jason right now believes he's doing the world a good service in exposing Coach Prime fraud Deion Sanders. That's what he's basically saying. And so he's trying to save everybody. So why should we believe Jason if Coach Prime, who is a believer, so now he's attacking him as Christianity? Okay? See how big this thing has gotten? And again, I don't know because I didn't do this part of the research. I don't know if Stephen A. them addressed it, or if Acho them addressed it, or some of the other sports analysts addressed it. But this either is too hot to touch, or they probably didn't think nothing of it. I don't know. But this to me is something that you just can't let go past.
I agree 100%. Getting on with that. Let's continue the video because I want to make sure I'm getting all the context. Like I said, you've seen it, so you know more. Maybe I'm just misinformed.
But you know how uncomfortable he made white people.
Most people have no clue that.
Telling y'all want me to get rid of these ads.
Make money on Amazon.
It's the membership.
Audible.
Remember how uncomfortable Deion made everybody because he's walking his walk and talking his talk, and he made everybody uncomfortable? That's Deion Sanders doing his Jim Jones impersonation. This guy is closer to Jim Jones than Nick Saban.
Okay, pause it right quick.
Late Friday.
I'm just going to reiterate this. This statement is very, very dangerous.
Yes.
Either Jason knows this and he's doing this intentionally for rates, for clicks, and he passionately believes, either he knows this and he passionately believes this, and or he knows what he's saying is very dangerous. He passionately believes this and he's doing it for clicks.
I say all the above because the thing is, for him, from what I know about Jason Whitlock, he doesn't say anything that he's not willing to put his name behind. So think about it. He's the knight. He's the maverick that takes down Deion Sanders, the evil Deion Sanders, the evil Jim Jones, anybody that strut their strut, walk their walk, have a bravado about them, then all of us are Jim Jones then. Because we all have bravado about us. We all influence people. We all motivate people. We're intimidating to some people because of how they feel. So whoever feels what type of way, we're all Jim Jones then. We're Jim Crow. We're Hitler. We're Stalin. We're anybody that people feel that they are. I'm sorry. Like I said, the more I get into this, the less ground he has to stand on. He didn't have any ground in the beginning, but the foundation is falling apart. I'm trying to follow him where he's saying, I can't. You know what I mean? Like, usually when you're debating or you have an argument, there's something I can argue against, but he's making these absurd claims about Deion Sanders. Coach Prime, however you want to look at it, Colorado Colt is as he calls it. Yet, these guys are motivated and want to be something. They want to do something with themselves. They want to grow. They want to do it for the coach. Now I remember there's movies like Coach Carter, Remember the Titans, Bill Belichick, all these other guys that people do it for the coach. They do it in honor of the coach. What's his name? Popovich for the Spurs. You know, Phil Jackson, the Zen Master. All this. But for Coach Prime, he's a crook. He's Jim Jones. Closer than Nick Saban. I'm sorry. Now, Nick Saban, I don't know if you know, Nick Saban to me, based off of what I see, is more, and I think it's probably because Bill Belichick's 70 years old. So he's more like football over God than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick is heavy on that, but Nick Saban is heavier. From what I've seen, I could be wrong. I think it's just because Belichick's getting older, maybe. Young Belichick, football, that's it. So the fact that Jason doesn't go after anybody else like that tells me that his motives are not pure. If this was pure, he has no proof of this. Because here's the thing. Okay, let's look at it from a subjective point of view. Let's say Deion's like this. Based off of how we feel, what we see, what we think. Based off our knowledge of our history of Jim Jones, Jim Crow, anybody that is a cult leader. This is what I'm seeing. Now, is Deion this way? I don't know, but these are the characteristics that seem to coincide with these individuals. I don't want to say anything, but it looks like it. I'd rather talk to him. That would be any logical person. An illogical person, right. An emotional person, an impulsive person like Jason Whitlock is looking for the next best thing that clicks to take down. And his history isn't even weighing in on this with me. It's just the now. And in the 5 minutes we've been watching this, or 5 minutes of the video, I'm trying to follow. Because the thing is, I know people are like, y'all are pausing it. That's why you don't get it. If in the first 5 minutes, everything you've claimed about this individual, none of it lines up, how can I follow it? You want to follow it until the end of the earth? Right. You want to wait until it falls off the cliff? I'm just trying to trail the tracks that lead east, north, west, south. That's exactly what he's doing. So I'm trying to understand, but he's not making it easy. And I think that's the point of it. And a lot of things from what I see, and especially this new generation, and no offense to anybody, but if you're honest with yourself, you know I'm telling the truth. They take everything at face value. No research, no verification. Just Jason Whitlock's a big name. Like you said, you saw people in the comment section. They agreed with Jason because he said it. Not because they know, but because he said it. It sounds good, and yeah, he think he's a big shot over there. He's cult-like. I had football players like this. That was like that. So Cam Newton was a cult then, right? The whole Superman thing and all this and dab and everything like that. So he called him that's the worship then, I guess. You know, like where's it gonna stop? So, geez, this guy is. I'm trying.
Friday night and early Saturday morning on November 18th, 2023. 45 years to the day that Jim Jones led a mass suicide, the Coach Prime cult suffered its Deion Town massacre.
I mean, what do you say after that? I mean, you can find a ton of throughout history on a lot of things. Some things actually do correlate. Some don't.
Losing a football game correlates to suicides?
That makes no sense unless you're reaching for something. So the question will be this. Would this case, if Jason Witten was...
Whitlock.
I mean, Jason Witten. Jason Whitlock. I like Jason Witten. Jason Whitlock, if he was in a courtroom and he was defending the case, or he used to defendant in a case, so he wanted to sue Coach Prime for taking advantage of people. However you could work that. But if you want to sue Coach Prime, the question is this. with any of this evidence that he's presenting in this video and may present and will present more, will any of this stand up in a court of law? Not a court of opinion, but a court of law.
It doesn't need to. That's what he's riding on. You hit the nail on the head. It doesn't need to. Feelings
because
over
this
reelings.
is not a court of law.
No, it's court of public opinion, and Jason Whitlock's a big name. And Deion Sanders is too smart to try to combat this. He's like, follow my actions. But there are people that lack the integrity to actually, and I'm not knocking anybody, I'm just stating facts. If you feel a certain type of way, don't be that individual that lack the integrity. So there are certain people that lack integrity to understand, why is he saying this? Like for me, I told you, I ain't seen this. This takes any weight that I have with Deion, it's not even thinking about. But I'm trying to follow this guy, Jason Whitlock, and try to figure out exactly what he's saying. Because it doesn't make any sense. And the fact, okay, let me ask you this. Okay, we're both men. We can never, I don't care what anybody say, we can't have kids. So for me, as a man that can't have kids, if a woman says, oh my gosh, I'm having childbirth, I say, oh, that's like a tummy ache. I know exactly what you mean. There's going to be a mob after me. Wait, a tummy ache and a baby, it's the same thing? You cannot correlate the two. Losing a game and people depressed because they lost the game, they got blown out, right? The Cowboys been suiciding people all the time then, because they've been blowing out people left and right, especially teams under 500. I don't care. It's still a win. A win is a win.
Now, we'd have to check history, though, to see if it correlates with the Jim Jones massacre, to see if it's within a 45 to 50-day window.
Okay, so let's say it correlates with that, right? Those people died. The game was lost, and they able to come back. It says they're 4-7. You know what happens when somebody dies? It'll say their date of death and their date of birth. That's it. That's all you get on your tombstone. Here lies Jim Jones, since he wants to use that name, from 19 whatever to 19 whatever. And that's it. You don't get no second chances. They can redeem themselves. Didn't Deion say this is the worst we're going to be? We're going to grow. It didn't turn out the way he wanted to, but hey, there's always tomorrow. The people that had the massacre did not have tomorrow. So how does this make any sense? And just look at the face. He's like, bruh, this is different. He reminds me.
Well, part of it too is Jason feels validated to some degree, in my view, or in my opinion. I'll use basically his word. Is he feels validated that the Colorado did not have a winning season. Now again, you should celebrate the incremental growths, however big or small they are, the growths of the team. They won 3 more games this year than they did last year. That counts for something. The whole city was inspired hope-wise. Again, I'm not saying Coach Prime did everything right and all this kind of stuff. This is not what the discussion's about.
No.
What this is about, what this is about is the assassination of a person's character without actual evidence. Instead of, it would make more sense if the statistics he has showed me anything about all those people's lives that I mentioned earlier that were affected, the kids, how when he left that neighborhood and left that community, how some of his former students or former players, how their lives went ways south rather than north. Now, people make their own decisions, but my point is, what evidence does he have from the people who are actually in those situations that their lives were affected, not just some football game, but their lives were affected because of Coach Prime's presence in their lives?
It's found in the book of Jason Whitlock Knows Nothing. That's where it's actually found. Because like I say, now Jason is smart. I understand he went to journalism, but I'm saying in this case, you showing me, okay, and not to knock on it, but all the wars that we've seen recently, they've had pictures, they've had videos, they've had trauma. This guy is showing the loss of a football game in correlation to a massacre. You know who did the exact same thing and lost a good partner? Skip Bayless. He did the exact same thing in a different context. When DeMar Hamilton went down with that heart attack in the football when he played football last year, I want to say.
I think it was last year.
Skip was talking about something else that had nothing to do with it. And he cared more about the game than about that man's life. Now, I don't believe Skip did that, but it's the perception of it. He cared more about that game. And it was a strong perception that it caused somebody to change their feelings and they went to another network. We know that history.
Right.
So the fact that he is like, I feel for the families, and I'm not trying to open up a can of worms in Pandora's box.
But you ain't opening it up. We ain't opening it up. All we doing is pointing out the obvious.
Yeah.
Just like he feels like he's pointing out the obvious, we'll just point out the obvious. He's taking his research and his knowledge of Deion and probably his dislike of the guy, because I heard also earlier today that he also said something about Shedeur Sanders. He said Shedeur Sanders, he compared him to Johnny Manziel. Okay, in which way? Are you talking about Johnny Manziel, the football player, or Johnny Manziel, the drug head? And I'm not saying that they hate on the young man. I'm just talking about the character differences. That's what he was doing, Mr. Partier and drugs and all that kind of stuff. So which part? And knowing Jason, it was not the problem. It was not the positive side of it. He was attacking the young man, and then, so anyway, it's Jason. This is why I wanted to address it. He has opened up a can of worms that, again, I haven't researched it, but to my knowledge, I hadn't heard anybody else talk about, or any of the other channels talk about, any of the news sport analysts talk about, is that he just called Deion Sanders the leader of a group that's going to be led to suicide, be it, if not physical so much, I don't believe he's talking physically, but he is talking culturally. I think he's talking psychologically. He's talking financially, professionally, relationally. He's talking Deion is going to negatively affect communities because of his reach. And the more people believe him, the more people are going to be affected by him, and they're going to suicide themselves in some capacity.
So what are they supposed to do?
That's dangerous.
Are they supposed to just have no belief or anything? What was it? Philadelphia 76ers, trust the process. Strength in numbers, Golden State. Believe, fly equals fly. All these type of phrases that every team comes up with. And the worst you could say about Deion, he ain't a woman beater. He ain't a child abuser. He ain't an assaulter. He ain't a deadbeat dad. He ain't a bad husband. No, he's not married or whatnot. But he's a cult leader because he's trying to get the guys to believe and buy in. Isn't that a job of a coach, is to get someone to buy in and they start to believe? And then this guy sitting on the road, bouncing from job to job, network to network, because he's so wise and bold, is going to say what is wrong and what is right. And the fact that he's correlating a football game with massacre, a bunch of guys that didn't believe in themselves, but that Deion's like, you can do this, and God is his strength. The Bible says that God is your source. God is your strength. Yeah, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. A Christian, Jason Whitlock, should know that. However, Deion's using it. And here's the thing: I'm really trying to understand, because I'm breaking down everything he says in my mind. Not Deion says, but Whitlock says,
Jason,
that Deion's using it to publicize himself by talking about his strength in God. Like, make that make sense. He's talking about how God has blessed him, but then, okay, let's say Deion is doing that. Why is it that every time an NFL player talks about how God helped them, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, they bleep it out like it's the worst cuss word you ever heard? I mean, cuss words they'll let fly. The FCC's like, it was the moment. But you say Jesus Christ, hey, guys, pull the plug. We can't do that. We're going to offend somebody. We ain't going to get in that topic because we know we can go deep in that. But I'm just saying, they don't have a problem, or they have a problem when it comes to that. As this man, and I'm only saying it because he, from his own mouth, said how much of a Christian he is and how he believes and blah, blah, blah. This man is on an all-out assault. Like you said, character assassination, personal assassination, and then you go after somebody's son. Deion is better than me. I ain't going to make no threats, just promises. Deion, I promise you, is better than me. I could use a 6-month vacation, 12-month vacation, free housing, free food, and a prison ministry. Now, Is that the godly thing to do? No. But I know God is still working on me. However, you come out to my family, it's going to take God. That's all I'm going to say about that. We'll continue. We'll continue. Ain't nobody feel no type of way or anything like that because I really don't care. But we'll continue.
In the battle for last place in the Pac-12 Conference, the Washington State Cougars destroyed Coach Prime's Colorado Buffaloes 56-14. Yeah, that's right. For all the hype and bluster, Deion's rebuilt Buffaloes will finish in the same spot as last year's team, looking up at every other team in its conference. Even with an unlikely victory in its season finale, a road game against Utah, Colorado cannot escape the Pac-12 basement. At best, it can finish tied for last place with a 2-7 conference record.
Jim Jones massacre, cult-like. And now the sass and gloatiness of they're still going to finish in the basement. Like he's proud of that. I'm just, like I say, I'm trying to follow. Sorry, guys, I'm pausing it. Don't want to get hit with a copyright strike. Jason Whitlock, after, especially if he sees this video. I'm a nobody right now. I got like 10 subscribers. I'm not really known, but if it blows up and he sees it, he might try to hit me up, and that's fine. But I just don't understand, and I sound like a broken record, and I hate sounding that way. I'm really just trying to make the 1, 2, 3 steps of how we got to this. Because now he's talking about, he's going back into sports. Now, here's the thing. All that he said about the sports, how they're finishing the bottom 12, I have no problem with that. He can say that all day. Because that's true, right? That's fact.
It is. Mm-hmm.
The Jim Jones correlation and massacre is where he lost me at. The sports side, okay, I don't like what you're saying because, hey, I wish the best for Coach Prime and the team, Colorado. They didn't do it. It is what it is. But I don't have no beef with him, no quarrel with him. But now,
right,
and this is where he should stay. This is his strength. This is where his bread and butter is. But now he's doing the asparagus and the sweet potatoes and the dirty rice, talking about stuff that has no correlation. I'm trying to get it.
For those of you who drank the Coach Prime Kool-Aid, thankfully, all you will suffer.
Just gonna say that's racist.
Is wounded pride and ego. What I hope is this is a teachable moment about the dangers of falling for a cult of personality, of pledging allegiance to anyone based on skin color rather than a set of values. Throughout the football season.
Who pledged your allegiance to him? I just want to see the evidence. That's all. I'm not saying nobody didn't, but I certainly ain't gonna say someone did. That's number one. Number two, who flocked to him just because he's black?
It's in his secret book. It's in his secret book.
From my guy, again, I'm not saying that there was no issue because everything these days is about black and white and black and blue and all that kind of stuff. But he didn't pull up no footage to back what he just said up. So if you're gonna say all of that, at least back it up.
Because he knows that he has the know.
I didn't follow Coach Prime because he's because he black.
Nah.
There's some other people I like too that of this shade. So I guess the Colorado experiment just really soured him. Like I said, I got some more stuff to say about some of the college industry stuff. But anyway, go ahead.
No. I'm saying that I don't get it. Like you're absolutely right. Where's the evidence to back that? Where's the, as they call, receipts to show? Oh, okay. So he did say this here. Because what did he do when the first one he said? Let me pull up a clip. He ain't pulled up no more clips. It's all.
Yeah, I seen it.
It's all in the Whitlock, literally the Whitlock, the lock of his brain, and his wittiness in his mind.
I have been repeatedly ridiculed and demonized for relentlessly criticizing Deion's coaching style and methods. I've been accused of being obsessed with the Hall of Fame football legend. My genuine obsession is with sharing a worldview that leads to improved decision-making and rids people of their idolatry. We live in an era ruled by idolatry, the religious worship of idols. Whether those idols be food, sex, money, popularity, material goods, youth, race, or the alleged heroes and influencers pop culture celebrates.
So because people say Coach Prime and he's going to change the world, now everybody's following a false god. It's what I pulled from that. He's Coach Prime. He act like he's God. He gives glory to God. He acts like he's God. He don't give glory to God.
Go back a couple of weeks. I'm sorry.
No. You go.
I didn't mean to interrupt your thought. I was just saying that because part of this is what he's going back to also is 3 weeks ago when his Coach Prime's team and the other team that they were visiting, that they were playing, their locker rooms got jacked, or their goods, their private property got stolen. And, he talked about that kind of stuff, the bling and stuff. I know you mentioned that earlier. Ain't nothing wrong with having the bling. Now, I do agree on this from this standpoint, is since you are at a certain level, people want what you have. And a lot of times it's going to be a lot of black young men, but I'm sure you got some Hispanic and all that too. But when you out there flashing your stuff, your nice little ring with your chains especially, and all of that kind of stuff, you have to be careful. You have to understand the moment. So from that standpoint, I'm not saying it's bad for those kids to have some of those nice things, because here's the question. Would they have had some of these nice things if they had not been on this team or had access to opportunities for them to acquire some of those type of things? Again, I'm not advocating for them buying a $120,000 necklace either if that's what they had. But you still have to understand of the moment. But again, I agree to some degree with Jason saying here in terms of, you're right. You shouldn't idolize Coach Prime. You shouldn't idolize nobody. You should praise God and give glory to God and all of that. But you should not get into idolatry. But I disagree is everything he is saying is based on his world view. Now, let me say this right quick. No matter what Jason says, don't people recognize that no matter how much Jesus says or the Bible says or any preachers today says, do this and don't do that, or don't do that and do this, don't you know you cannot control people? So even if Jason, because this is what he's finna do, Jason's finna basically preaching now. He's not talking, he's talking sports, but he's mixing everything in. He's throwing some history at you, correlating that. He's throwing religion in there, and he's throwing in the sporting world, putting them both together. And he's preaching to people, do not idolize and worship. If Coach Prime was fitting the bill that Jason is, spending or saying the bill is being racked up right now, I'd agree with him. But once again, I still don't see it. I have not heard it.
So what I'm gathering from what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, he's happy that Coach Prime lost, because if he'd have won, people would have idolized him. But they falsely followed him. And they see that their falling God was not successful. So let this be a lesson to you. Do not idolize him, because he's going to fall short of a season.
Even though he didn't promise that he was going to win this year, number one. He's in one of his first interviews, he told people, this is what, like I said, when Coach Prime came to Colorado was when I started following, more the coaching, college football, particularly his team. Just to see, I was rooting for their success. And again, not just for Coach Prime's success, with his leadership, their success. And he said, we're 8 to 10 players away. He said this. In my video that I did, I pulled up a clip where he was being interviewed by Dan Patrick, a well-known radio personality, sports analyst, I think that's what he's called. But anyway, sport analyst, I'm just calling him that. I mean, no disrespect if I got the wording wrong. But he's a well-known guy. He was being interviewed. And him and Coach Prime was talking about some of that. Coach Prime said from the outset, we're 8 to 10 players away. Okay? That's why he said in the clip you pulled up where he said, yeah, if you're going to get me now. I heard all of that. Now, can that sound arrogant? Most definitely. Can people perceive him as arrogant from that? Oh, yeah. I mean, sometimes you can be confident or overconfident or too confident, at least, especially for some people's taste. But it's also amazing. This is the question I'm going to ask Dale. Let's get back to the video. Part of what it also sounds like is this. Someone like Jason would have rathered Coach Prime come in and be like the traditional coaches or have their personalities and just settle into your role. You all nice and quiet. You say all the nice things, all the professional things, the traditional things about we're going to have a wonderful program this year. We hope we're going to do this, and that. You know, just check your list and go and settle into the game, settle into the flow, be all quiet. Now, here's the question, though. All those quiet people, does that mean that they're not up to any good? Just because they ain't saying anything?
According to him.
Just because they don't have a live microphone?
According to him.
I mean, we're finding out constantly that people coming out that, like, again, this is totally different, but in terms of the scenario. But there was a doctor, I think he's a doctor, in the gymnast world who had been molesting these girls, these professional gymnast girls, these young ladies, these young women, for over 20-something, 30 years, I guess it was. And this is going back several months ago when I last heard about it. You didn't hear much about him. He wasn't blasted all over the news. He wasn't a big famous personality, or he didn't take the opportunity to become a well-known personality out there that I'm aware of. Nope. He just did his job behind closed doors and molested those young ladies. Somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's friend, somebody's niece, somebody's granddaughter, whoever. He affected those families. But he wasn't out there flashy. He wasn't being idolized as far as I'm aware of. He was quiet. And yet he made some very dangerous decisions, evil behavior, and changed their lives forever. A lot of these young women. How many fathers feel so bad because they weren't there to protect their daughter? How many brothers feel so bad at that time when they found out because they weren't there to protect their sister? I mean, once again, this doesn't just stop with this. This one person, it expands and it grows really quick on how many people are being affected. So this is why this conversation, in my view, is necessary, because people. This is why the country is in the state it's in right now. Is because certain groups would use a microphone to say things, even if it's a lie, mixed with the truth. They would say it, and they would keep saying it repetitiously. They would continue to say it loudly. And what's the other side do? They quieter and quieter and quieter. And for years, this stuff happens. The minority, the minor voices speak the loudest, while the majority stays the quietest and do nothing. And then by the time they realize a bomb has gone off, it's too late. Then we ask this question: why is it this way? Why is it that way? How come this is not as better? Just like what's going on in the colleges right now. We found out, what these professors are doing and all this kind of stuff, how they're teaching children and the students wrong ideologies and philosophies. Well, they also themselves, some of them, if not all of them, were also products in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s and some in the 90s. Products of information that shaped their thinking unbeknownst to their parents. Their parents weren't there to help shield and guard them. And the kids probably were taught not to tell their parents everything. And then you ask this question: why are we in the state we're in? Why do you think the way you do? Why do they think the way they do? Because when good men, and I'm not getting spoke verbatim, but when good men stay quiet, evil men rule. Now I get it. If Jason is thinking he is really saving the world or saving the community or saving the college from big bad wolf Coach Prime, and he's got all the facts to back it up and it's truthful, I'll support it. I still would do it differently than he's doing it. I'll support him. But if he's wrong, I'm not going to support it. And I'm, again, like Mel said, listen, all I have is a couple hundred subscribers, somewhere around there. I don't have a big platform, but I'm not afraid to say what I believe is the truth here. Give me more evidence if you really believe it. Matter of fact, even better, why don't you invite Deion on your show?
And see,
why don't y'all talk man to man? Let the man speak for himself.
Well, that's the thing. You would go directly to the horse's mouth. Unfortunately, Jason's not trying to do that. What he'd rather do is go with the clicks. Anytime you want to get rid of the source or you want to handle a problem, I guess as the phrase, head on, you're going to go directly to the source. You're not going to go around it. Like you want to find the core of the problem, the source of the problem, which is Deion. If in his, imaginary world, it would be Deion. So what he should do is have a talk with this person. If you're really that concerned, because here's the thing.
You are.
You sound like a radical, a radicalist, or a very outspoken liberal extremist. So if you're this extreme, you become noise, what you call white noise, where you hear it, you're in the street, you're saying what it is. It's just like take a lot of people that stand on the corner and they're trying to get people saved. And they're like, hey, you're going to hell, you're going to hell, you're going to hell. That's not the way to get people into the kingdom. You got to tell people about God's love, about Christ, about who Jesus is, about the relationship. You just flat out tell people how terrible they are. I see you, prostitute. They tried that in the Bible, as you say, with the girl that the prostitute that Jesus told her to go and sin no more when they wanted to throw stones at her, and he said he without sin cast the first stone. Jason is casting all the stones. Let's just go with him in imaginary Whitlock land and believe everything he's saying is 100% true. Well, where is the brotherly love? Where is the, hey, bro, let me correct you? Because if Deion is here's the thing, D. Most of the time, whenever I deal with people that's doing something consistently, let's say it's bad, 9 times out of 10, it's a learned behavior that becomes a way of life. So they're continuously doing the same thing over and over, not necessarily to be an antagonist, to attack, or to be out of order. It's because they believe it's the way of life. Just like how you say with Jason, he truly believes. But the fact that Jason picks and chooses his battles tells me that he knows exactly what he's doing and how to get a rise out of people. Watch what he said. He said that people say that I'm obsessed. My obsession comes from, so he didn't deny it. He's correct. He's like, yeah, I am obsessed. But it's justification for his obsession. Okay, so people were talking about him before this, right? So why didn't he handle those issues he had with Deion prior? If he's wanted to save the world. So he doesn't have the narrative or the inkling in his mind and heart and pureness to say, hey, I want to fix this. Because this is what we, as a lot of people do, will complain about the problem. Just like the dynamic on dating. On my show, sometimes or in the future, I'm going to talk about dating. I want to help men and women, not just men, not just women. I can't say all women are evil. I can't say all men are trash. It doesn't work that way. We got to come together and find the solution. A lot of podcasts out here do not have solutions. They just talk about the problem all day. Women are the enemy. Men are evil and lame. And I'm better than the other species, the other race, the other sex, whatever the case is. And nobody gets anywhere. If the women's always right, the man's always trash, women wonder why men never grow. If women are always wrong and men are always right, men wonder why women never grow. We don't come to a common ground of solution. And that is what Jason is lacking in this, even if his conviction is telling him. But like you said, he's reaching. That's all I see. He is reaching for not the sky. He's reaching for the sideways, the byways, the left side, the underside. Because it doesn't make any kind of, there's nothing that he's standing on. Now, he has a right to feel what you call my truth, his truth, or whatever. However, if he's really concerned for the well-being of America and want us to learn our lesson, because that's what he said. Who sounds arrogant? And like I said, this isn't any emotion. This is just observation. Who sounds arrogant? Now, let this be a lesson to the people out there. Like, seriously? Let's say people followed and they believed everything. Like, man, I can't believe I followed Deion. I'm a cult follower. Oh, my gosh. Let this be a lesson to you. Let this be a lesson to you. Because I didn't follow him. You did. You failed for his shenanigans. And you are less than me. That is the message that he's conveying in this. Now, people can say that's overly extreme. But wait, I thought we were going off of my truths. How I feel. What I think. Court of male opinion. Because that's where we were at. We're at Whitlock's opinion. We're not even of the public opinion. And again, your followers are gonna just agree with you to agree with you. It's like in high school. I would see girls where one girl has a problem with the other girls, and she tells her friends, "You can't talk to her. Why? I don't like her." They don't know why. They're just gonna follow the herd. It's a hive mentality. Bees, they have that hive mentality. The locusts, hive mentality. The wasps, the hornets, all these have the hive mentality. Even birds, you'll see birds flock together. They'll go all one way and everything. That's what his followers, if they don't do their research. I'm not just gradually saying everybody, but people that just say, yeah, Deion is the devil. Based off of what? Just like our president, they think he's doing a good job. I digress.
Idols control our behavior and interfere with our obedience to the truth spelled out in the Bible. I suffer from idolatry. The only idol I've truly conquered is hero worship. Everything else remains a day-to-day struggle, a battle I fight with prayer, meditation, song, and study of the word.
Okay. Like Mel said, sorry for cutting in and out like this. He says so much. Okay. If Jason used this time, you know, in that same Bible, Mel brought it up a little while ago, it talks about praying for your brothers and sisters as well as praying for your enemies. And right now, based on this commentary, Deion is his enemy. Even though he claims that he's a Christian and he's aware that Deion is a Christian, obviously he's questioning Deion's Christianity. That's the gist of this. That's a big part of this. Why is he using the same Bible to say, okay, let this be a lesson to you. Let me encourage you out there, if you have fallen into idolatry with Coach Brian or whatever it is, not to do it. And let's pray. Let's come together. I know it's not going to be popular. I know it's not going to be a great clickbait that Jason Whitlock is on his platform praying for people. But it's the right thing and the best thing to do. But we all know bad news, drama, suspense, all of that sells. Good news just does not move fast. It's just like the truth. Jason was talking about the truth, right? The truth does not move fast. It moves at its own pace. But in that, truth also it brings the receipts. Okay, that's why truth takes so long. It's gathering all the receipts. And some of the truth has to develop over time. We don't like it because we live in a society that's more about the microwave mentality. We want it quick. We want it now. But when it comes to us making the right decision, we want to tell people I ain't ready yet. So we want to take our sweet time doing the right thing, but we want to be real quick doing the wrong thing. So Jason is saying, okay, listen, don't be into idolatry. I used to be in that. And Jason, by the way, he does beat himself up a lot. That's really not becoming of Christians, but a lot of Christians do that. But it's one thing to point stuff out. It's another thing to belabor the point. And so anyway, and so Jason's focus is why he's, to me, slandering Coach Prime's name. Once again, if everything he just said comes out to the light, and I was fooled too, I will be just as man enough as I am now to come and say, listen, Mel, if you let me come on the show, let me come back and let me redo this and let me apologize to your audience as well as to mine. I was wrong. I missed it. I'm man enough to say that. I'm man enough to do it. I don't like it, but I'm man enough to do it. I hope Jason's man enough to do it too if he's proven, let's say it this way, if he changes his mind on the situation, because he is taking, to me, the cheap road. Deion is a hot thing right now. Y'all have most people, and from what I understand, Jason was talking bad about Deion's coaching style from the jump anyway. So like I said, he feels very much validated. Deion had a poor season, and so his coaching style does not work. Never mind you that most of those games that they lost, they was within a touchdown or a score of winning those games. There's only 2 games I saw they got their tails whooped pretty good. And then one of those games, they was up by 29 points and lost the game in the second half. So if you put it in context, I know a loss is a loss and a win is a win, but if you put it in context, most of those games, Deion's team, they were in contention. They was competing. They were competing. They were just a few plays here, a few plays there, probably a few decisions here, a few decisions there. There was also a few players down. If they had some of those things, I believe they would have had a winning season. And by the way, I want to say this right quick. As a Deion Sanders fan, I personally, and this is without me following any college stuff, because I don't. Typically, I don't. College games, any of that kind of stuff. I said from the jump when he was coming to Colorado, I said I think they're gonna lose 5 to 6 games. I told Mel that. We talked about it a little bit. I said I think they're gonna lose 5 to 6 games. Made sense to me because I know it's a new system, new players. Everybody's got a jail. It's a process. Okay, it's all about process. It's about understanding things. So I'm not surprised, but I wasn't surprised by it, honestly. I was hoping and rooting for better. And I did take the positives. Yes, there were some negatives. You're always going to find that. But to the level of the attacks, and I got more to say on that as we get through the video, but to the level that Jason Whitlock is attacking, and I do call it an attack, on Coach Prime, it's incredible to me.
I agree. And you'll know what I'm talking about this, but I won't go into detail here on the stream. It's always fascinating to me is when people talk about prayer, hearing from God.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
And usually, and I don't know, maybe your prayers don't work because mine don't work like this. God only gives you what you want. Anything you hear from God, anything you pray to God, he deals with your specific issue. He doesn't take you out of any comfort zone based off of these type of people. Now, when we pray, God makes us feel uncomfortable because he wants to take us to the next level. When they pray, God says, okay, cool. According to them. We know the way the word of God works, but we're not going to tell people how they feel or what they believe. But he says through prayer, right? Daily. So out of 365 days, you're telling me not one day, an ounce of condemnation comes to him to say, or conviction comes to him and say, hey man, that's not right. Hey man, that's not the love of Christ. Hey man, that's not brotherly love. Hey man, that's not encouraging. Hey man, that's not helping out the situation. Hey man, that's not having wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It's all emotional. It's I'm not saying that he's not a Christian, but it's like, what is, I'm just curious, and I'm not trying to attack his faith. I ain't going to go deep into it, but what is he praying to the point to where God helps him with idolatry, but not with attacking other people? Because Deion ain't the only one. I'm just saying, as a Christian, you shouldn't just be attacking people. Even stuff, whenever I go on Instagram or I comment, I'm very conscious of what I say because I understand it can hurt people. And I tend to go after facts, not feelings, facts. For example, if I remember somebody put something about how all women are a guy, all women are evil. And I simply said, is it all women are evil or all the places you go are the evil women? And he took offense to that, saying that I called me all kinds of names. Yeah. But see, I just asked the question because if you're going to the same club, the same place, and finding these same women, how can you say all when you're at one? They make it plural.
Because he knows he's the common denominator.
Exactly. But you know what he's allergic to, like kryptonite with Superman? Accountability. That is a disease. The two diseases in America and the world right now is attention junkies and accountability. People act like accountability. Yep. Ooh, can't touch this dude. They all moving through it. And then attention, anything for attention, they will do. Online, out of line, in line. Mr. Whitlock here. Like I say, this is attention. Like you said, Mr. Sanders is a hot commodity. People want him everywhere. He's known, and he's going to be the one. Think about it. There's always one person. Everybody gets lost. Everybody that's pro Deion Sanders gets lost in the herd of people that are like, yay, he's doing it. But the ones that are against him are the ones, look at us. Stephen A., Shannon Sharp, Michael Irvin, Skip Bayless are all pro Deion Sanders. But we ain't talking about them. Who are we talking about? Whitlock. This is exactly what he wants. Hey, it's good for us too. But I'm just saying, this is what he wants. He wants to be the oddball out. If you say 5 + 5 is 10, he'll say, are you sure? Because if you add that other one, it could be 11. Let's verify. So it's always something. So yeah, with him, it's special.
And I'm gonna add just one more thing right quick. Earlier you talked about if Coach Prime was white, would Jason Whitlock be talking about this? Probably not. But here's another question. If Deion was Deion without the prime time or without the spotlights, would this be a story? I think not either, no matter what color he is.
Nah. It's because he's prime time and here's the thing, I get, and like I say, I'm looking at it from both perspectives. I get the celebrity of it because it's exciting, but he's not making it like he's God. He gives God glory, which is more than I can say for Jason. I'll just leave it there.
But Jason is basically saying that's a ploy. That's a marketing tool. That's basically what he's saying.
So then I've been marketing a lot then. I got a house. Give God glory. Guys, I'm a winner. It's all about me. Like when I say but God, when people say let go and let God, there you go, marketing. I'm just like, where does it stop? See how extreme it can get? He's a progressive extremist in this field, not in politics. I ain't talking about that. I'm saying in this, very extreme to say that he's trying to. Now, if he tried to do this, that's one thing. If Deion did do this, from what I'm seeing, from everybody else in the world, pretty much of what they're seeing, they're not seeing where he's using God as a ramp. Okay, let's put it like this. I ain't hearing him cuss. He's like, he don't cuss. He's like, I don't give a darn. We're used to hearing that back in the day. I don't give a darn. They did the dang thing. All these other coaches be cussing. They Christians, but cussing. Man, I want to thank God for us effing winning. It's like, that didn't make any sense, but whatever. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, that's what they do. Jason cusses. Deion, I'm sure it could slip up, but he tries to not do that. But yet, he wants to make himself. So, if you don't cuss, you're trying to be like God, which we're made in his likeness after his image, and we should be Christ-like. So, if anything, Deion is being better than us, according to Jason, because he's trying to be Christ-like if he's trying to do that. Because he's not saying, follow me. He's talking about a game. But do you believe in us now? We're going to win. And that's idolizing, and I don't, that's a reach, man. That's reaching worse than basketball.
I also fight it by engaging in a daily conversation about the dangers of idolatry. Deion and Colorado football provided me with the perfect topic to consistently analyze the pitfalls of idolatry.
Just like you said, opportunity meets destruction with him.
Coach Prime epitomizes unrepentant idolatry. He's been the spokesman for the pleasures of idolatry for 40 years. While claiming Christian faith, he flamboyantly and unapologetically chases money, popularity, youth.
This is hard, D.
I know. Let's keep going for a little bit. For the viewers, let's keep going just a little bit more.
Pride and racial justice. His cult followers defend his lack of repentance by arguing that he's always been this way. Deion hasn't changed. His defenders claim Deion has mastered the art of being relatable to kids. Their defenses are an indictment. No man should relish his inability to evolve and mature. And no grown man, especially a father and leader, should desire to be relatable to kids. That's not our role. We should desire to be seen as wise. A child should relate to his peers and seek wisdom from adults. The pursuit of relatability acts as a beard for avoidance of the responsibility of manhood. Deion does not want to grow up. He's made youthfulness an idol. The gold chains, the hoodie, the sunglasses, the friendship with rappers half his age are all symptoms of his fear of aging.
Oh, see, as a Christian, I'm not going to attack something. Stephen A. already did that. I'm just saying Jason has a fear of missing a meal or two.
We all can relate to that. I certainly can. I dye my hair 3 or 4 times a year. Getting old.
But that's not idolatry because you want to stay young looking. There's no scripture for that.
What did I tell you?
Not because you want to stay young looking in the right again.
Sadducee, Pharisee, all the seeds. This is an extreme. This is what people see when they see Christians. The heavy. So it's the equivalence of no offense to religions that believe this, but you wear too much makeup, you wear too much lipstick, you have tattoos, you have piercings, you have a dress on, you have a skirt on, you have tight pants on as a man. This right here, what you and I have on our faces is a sin for some churches. Because you're not supposed to bring attention to yourself. Your pride and stuff. Jesus had his beard ripped off. So in honor, I didn't know this until I was 18. In honor of this, you need to not wear or not have facial hair because you're bringing attention to yourself other than God. You're not showing the glory of God. You're showing the glory of yourself. And I'm like, those people like that, I'm sorry, but you're hurting. Your eyesores, man. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And it's like, how extreme do you gotta get? Like, I promise you, every fiber in my being, you die, and you go to heaven, God is gonna say in the Bible, well, I'm not good and faithful servant, getting here by the skin of your teeth, depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I never knew you. But I don't see you use just for men's, or you go just to hell. I don't see that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. You have that gold chain? Well, gold was made in fire, and so will you be. Like, God doesn't do that. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be streets of gold. So, you know what? I'm just saying, like...
Well, a lot of people...
No, go ahead.
No, just a lot of people misinterpret the scriptures, period, point blank. I mean, you got experts who do it. You got people who are not experts. And most people are not going... I don't care what nobody say. Once again, Jesus himself told the religious experts of their day, or religious scholars of their day, that they were experts in the word, but they didn't have the spirit, or they didn't know, they didn't have the spirit of the scriptures. And those are two different things. So you can have the letter of the law without understanding or appreciating or having the spirit of the law, which is really the true meaning of what the law means. And that's what people do. Take stuff, just like the scripture, the money is the root of all evil. That's not scripturally true. It says the love of money is the root of all evil. Money is not evil, because if that's the case, God is evil because he created money. No, God didn't do that. So if you're in pursuit of truth, stay with truth. When you hear a lie, call it out, or just simply remove yourself away from it. Again, some of what Jason is saying is true. Definitely, the Bible does not want us to get into idolatry in any form, intentionally or unintentionally, because of course God ain't gonna hold you accountable if you do something unintentionally. But the point is, you have to stay on task, and your argument in his case certainly has to be within context. And like Mel was saying, I agree. He's taking things to the extreme. Can Deion Sanders or his kids or his players get into idolatry, worshiping the gold and all that kind of stuff? Material goods. Yes, they can. I don't know if they have. If they have, then let's pray for them too. Once again, while Jason is talking about he was afforded an opportunity basically to bash Coach Sanders and his team, but primarily Coach Sanders, to me, this is an opportunity, having his platform, if he's going to use his mouth, and I'm not saying this to be disrespectful, in case, Jason, you catch this, or Mr. Whitlock, however you would like to be addressed. I'm not saying this to attack you. I'm attacking what you're saying, but I'm not attacking you, the person. Because I don't know you, and I don't know your heart. But I do agree with you on this because it's scriptural, not to get into idolatry. That's one of God's commands. However, people misunderstand. Your perspective of what somebody is doing may be completely off base. It's just your perception. I know they say perception is reality. No, perception is your reality. That doesn't mean it's the reality. And those are two different things. So I'm not saying we discount that because in certain situations or scenarios, it still carries some level of weight. But that still doesn't mean that perception is right. So we have to be very careful. And again, that's why we're doing this video in the first place. We're doing this segment is because Jason has already went into very, very dangerous territory. Words have meanings. The words themselves mean nothing without the definition.
Well, facts. And like I said, he talked about Deion loved the love of money and the flashiness. Well, Jason has the love of food. Like, it's clear.
And Jason admitted that he's had issues in that. And that's fine. He's accountable. I get it. But oftentimes when people are coming out of something and they see something that they see potentially the same effects of it happening in other people's lives. Sometimes they could be right on the money. Other times it can just be their perception. They got to be able to identify which one it is so they can accurately address that situation. Thanks. And in this case, I don't see it. Now, once again, he doesn't like that a 56-year-old man walk around in a hoodie and some shades and, a chain. You ain't gotta. That's the man's preference. Now, if he's going around acting like a thug, I'm gonna say this real quick. Relatability. I have to look into that word just to make sure I understand the etymology of it, the origin of it, and all those type of things. But simply put, let's speak real quick on the Christian thing. How do we get into a relationship with God? We have to relate somehow. Well, God related to us by dressing up in a fleshly body so he could come down here and us. Not become just simply our best buddy, but he did become our friend. And for those who received him, our friend, our brother, family member, our Lord and Savior, and all those things. But he came down to become relatable. This is why the rich, the poor, the sick and the healthy, those who will befriend him and those who will be his foes or his enemies, were attracted to him. See, Jesus attracted both sides too. Once again, he's the only perfect person, I believe. I know everybody else don't hold that belief, but I believe he was the only human to walk the face of the earth perfectly. And he was still ridiculed. He was criticized. And no, I'm not saying Deion is at that level. But he was ridiculed, he was criticized, he was scrutinized, and he was murdered because of hatred and jealousy. So if people will do that to an imperfect person, to a perfect person, I have no doubt, and I hate to say it, it's just the truth though, I have no doubt surprised they would do it to each other.
I agree 100%. Now, we are actually at an hour and 42 minutes of the stream. However, we got another 40 minutes of this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause for the calls and go part 2, guys. Quick story before the stream, I told Darius how it was going to be because I know how me and him both like to talk and elaborate. It's like you got a snail and a turtle. That's the best thing I can give you because we're going to just give it all out. The snail's going this fast, the turtle's going this fast. They're both colliding for a race that lasts forever. We're very elaborate in our explanations and conversations. So we're going to do this as part 2, guys. And Darius, I'll give this to you so you can put it on your channel as well. Edit up, cut it up, however you need to. Make sure it's however you want to do it. But thank you for joining us tonight. I believe you guys had fun whenever you watch this. And go ahead, comment below and follow Darius on his channel. I put all his information in the description, and I've put a link in there so you can subscribe to him. Get him at that 200. Get me at 12. I'm down with that, however you guys want to do it. So make it happen. This has been fun. Any last words for you, Darius, until part 2, which part 2, we'll see if we could do. We'll have to check with our schedule and everything. If you guys demand it tomorrow, maybe. But I know we both got schedules and everything. So We'll definitely do part 2. I'll remember where the video is and everything, and we'll elaborate because we do got a lot more to get into this and Jim Jones and the history of stuff. Because I know we do the research because a lot of people won't, and we're not even faulting you for that. That's why we want you to come and watch us because we'll do it for you. So we appreciate your time. Darius, you have anything that you want to say?
Pray for both of these men, whether you like or dislike either one of these men. Coach Brian, Jason Whitlock. For those of you who do believe in prayer, do believe in Jesus Christ, pray for these men. I hate to see two men going at it like this. Well, it's really not both of them, but I hate to see the division that's taking place, but especially between two black men. And I say that because in today's world, there's been, well, the last several years, racism has been one of the biggest narratives, biggest stories going on. And so there's, in the black community, it's very easy for us not to support each other. And when one person goes to the next level, there's always somebody trying to pull them down or back down. And so instead of supporting each other, we're fighting each other. Then we want to call ourselves unifying under the umbrella of racism. And I think that's about it. When it comes to success, you don't see a whole lot of collaboration like there could be or should be in a black community, maybe isolated pockets. And so my encouragement is that you pray for these men, pray for their families, and pray for others involved, because this type of rhetoric is very divisive, very dangerous, and it paints a terrible picture. And please support our channels. Thank you. And thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you. And guys, we appreciate everything you guys have done and watching us. Whenever you watch it, please share, like, comment. Let us know what you think, positive or negative. If you agree with us, great. If you don't, even better. So thank you guys for joining us. Until next time. Real quick, Darius, tell people where they can find you again.
Okay, you can catch me at Real Talk with Darius. Check me out. You're going to enjoy yourselves. I do post weekly. Right now, I don't have exactly just a set time. Recently, I started posting, uploading videos, just various different videos, things that interest me, and I believe interest a good number of people. Politics, talking about God, and just life in general, what's relevant. So check me out. Typically, I may put something up between 12 and 6. But if you subscribe and set your notifications, you get those alerts.
Again, guys, thank you. And you guys have a good night.